Hey, I'm Trey. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be normal at first only to find out that they were actually popcorn crazy and were killing people for years? Well, me too, which is why I enjoy reading stories such as these. I upload new content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Well, if you're ready, let's get started. August of 1980, in the country of Finland, a man by the name of Ismo Juni had a strange fetish. He would go to the local morgue and overlook the dead bodies for fun. If that doesn't classify as crazy, I don't know what would. He would focus on their facial expressions and try to guess the cause of death of each victim, like if they died from an accident or from murder. He also really enjoyed looking at dead corpses' teeth for some reason. This particular day, Juni came home to a disturbing scene. His wife, whose name was not provided, was found dead in her bathtub. Police responded and noticed that the woman had suspicious-looking bruises over her head and around her mouth, stemming from an assault. Also, several of her teeth were missing. As a matter of fact, the entire scene looked as if it was staged. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough evidence for the police to determine if there was any foul play involved, so her death was ruled as an accident, but Ismo was charged with an assault. In June of 1986, Ismo went to work for a summer camp by the name of Kikanovka. Hope I got that name right. He befriended several colleagues while working there. The names were Seppo Mantemi, Juna Ver, and Matti Heppen. Late one night, when everyone was asleep, Juna Var and Seppo Manti were friends and shared a cottage together. The cottage caught on fire and was engulfed in flames. The authorities and fire department responded and were unable to pull them out of the flames in time. Both perished due to the fire. No witnesses or leads were available, so due to the lack of evidence pointing to foul play, the case was filed under just suspicious. The following month, in July, a friend by the name of Matti happened to be resting in his cottage at that same camp. A fire broke out, killing him during his sleep. That fire was eventually extinguished. The fire had completely decimated the structure along with killing Matti. The police did find one thing that was uniquely weird. Matti was missing several of his teeth. The police couldn't explain how this man's teeth were present during the day, and this was verified by his colleagues, and after falling asleep and dying due to the fire, his teeth vanished. Since there were no other leads or witnesses, the death was ruled as accidental. The year of 1988, a man by the name of Paul Sirion was torched alive in his summer home. Police and fire department responded and extinguished the fire. Several of Paul's teeth were found missing, but no other leads or witnesses could be found. It was assumed that his teeth were like this prior to his death. The authorities found no foul play, and this was labeled as a freak accident. The police didn't notice this trend that happened over the course of 8 years. Several people had been killed in their homes due to fire, all of which happened when the residents were home asleep. There wasn't enough evidence to assume that any of the fires were intentional, but in that general area, the house fire rates were statistically higher than the norm. Matti's wife, who died in the fire, whose name was not provided, notified the police one day that Ismo would sporadically come to her house and say cryptic things to her about her husband's death, who was also allegedly Ismo's friend. Ismo told her on several occasions that he was present and witnessed her husband's death during the fire. Yeah, that's not weird at all. Initially, Ismo stated that he didn't see anything and was not present during Matti's death. Ismo had not mentioned this new information to the police or to Matti's wife initially. Matti's wife felt like he was borderline taunting her over her husband's death. She believed that due to this weird current behavior and his infatuation with dead bodies that everybody knew about, he was possibly involved with her husband's death. A man with a fascination for dead corpses would be number one on my list if I were an investigator on this case. The police brought in Ismo for an interview, and during the interrogation he confessed to multiple homicides. He confessed to dozens of murders. Ismo started off by explaining how he killed his wife. He got into a heated verbal dispute which transitioned into punching her in the face, then stomping her head on the ground when she fell. His wife eventually fell unconscious due to the assault. While her face was swollen and bloody, check this out, he went into her mouth with a pair of pliers and pulled out several of her teeth. I guess he was collecting teeth for the tooth fairy. Ismo then drug his wife's body on the floor into the bathroom. He then placed her body in the bathtub filled with water. While she was still unconscious, she slid under the water and died. the police contacted Ishmael's son, who was a small child at the time of the killing of his mother. He corroborated his father's stated chain of events. He being a young child at the time, his father explained it away and he believed it. When it came to the death of Maddie, Ishmael confessed that they were both in his cottage together drinking heavily. They both got into a fight and he bashed Maddie in the head with a glass jar. While he was unconscious, Ishmael set the cottage on fire and watched him burn. Ishmael told the police that he was responsible for the deaths of his co-worker Seppo and Juha. When asked by the authorities why he did this to his friends, he stated that he enjoys watching people burn and just couldn't help himself. Since he enjoyed watching people burn, they should give this guy the electric chair so he can have a front row seat. Ishmael also confessed to killing Paul in the same manner, and for no other apparent reason other than his entertainment. Ishmael was charged for multiple homicides, went to trial and found guilty. In 1992, he was given a life sentence in prison. If you're interested in more stories like these, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. God bless and stay safe.